Arthur and Watson are in studio here tonight from J-Watt Productions, just having some fun. Want to thank all the callers that called in to talk about different things, and very interesting stuff, without a doubt. A lot of fun. We were talking about alien abduction, and that's we were talking about the movie The Fourth Kind.
Mm-hmm.
Scary movie,
yes.
without a doubt, you know. And kind of like the last caller that called in, I believe that a lot of people, I know a lot of people don't want to maybe come out and talk about it, but that's what we're here for,
right.
You know, to share people's experiences. But I think there's a lot of times that people, maybe things are really happening. People lose time. They lose track of time. Maybe they see something in the sky, or something catches their eye, and next thing you know, maybe they daydreamed it away. Maybe they didn't. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you were talking about during the break about a paranormal experience that you had.
Yeah, it was actually pretty awesome. So I ghost hunt pretty often, and I've never experienced anything to have firm evidence to be like, absolutely, this happened. Up until most recently, I went ghost hunting at my friend for years in high school. He would tell me that his house was haunted, and I would go over there, and I never saw anything happen. Like, I was like, there's no way there was nothing that would happen. Well, one night recently, he was like, let's go ghost hunting in my house, and I was like, okay, well, if we're going to go ghost hunting, we're going to use the equipment. I mean, I have a EMF, electric magnetic field detector. I have my EVP recorder. I have, all the things. So we go in there, and at first we didn't get anything. And I won't lie, I was being a little skeptical.
Sure.
As you do. I mean, we didn't hear any weird noises, nothing. It was quiet, dead quiet. Well, one day, a little bit later that night, we decided to just kind of spread out, take different rooms, and I had my EMF, which reads, the theory is that ghosts manifest themselves drawing through electric magnetic fields, and if there's one randomly just generating out of nothing, that would mean that there's a ghost there. That's the theory. So I set one up on the counter, and we tested around everywhere to make sure there wasn't any electric fields anywhere. Didn't get anything. Sitting there, and we're talking, and what we would say is we'll say, okay, please touch this device. If you touch it, it'll beep, and that will mean yes. Don't touch it for no. So I asked a few questions. Nothing really happened. And then all of a sudden, I asked, okay, well, we're going to leave. Do you want us to stay? And as soon as I said that, the thing went off. But it didn't just go on and then stay there for a long time, which usually what happens when it's like a power line or someone flipped on the lights.
Right.
It literally shot up for a second and then went back down. And we were like, okay. And then I was like, are you a man? Shot up once, came back down. And I was like, holy cow. And I was like, and just to test it, I said, are you a woman? Nothing. And then I was like, are you related to the people who live in this house? Shot up once, then came back down. And it was so crazy. For literally a good 3 to 5 minutes, it was answering questions. Just, it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. And we actually recorded it on on my recorder, and I put it on YouTube. So for those out there that are interested in hearing it and hearing me talk to it, you'll hear me freak out because, I was very shocked. But it's actually on my personal channel, which is Waddy McFly, and you can check out for yourself and listen to the recordings of us asking this entity questions and it responding back. It was crazy. Never experienced anything like it. Yeah.
It was interesting. I got an email today actually from somebody. I'm initially from Chicago, and I'm a South Sider. southern suburbs, and there is a cemetery there called Bachelor's Grove. It's one of the most haunted. It's in the top 5 haunted cemeteries, and I believe in the top 7 haunted places in the world. And that's where I captured my first EVP. And it's mind blowing when you catch that. I mean, it really is. As much as sometimes people say, there's you hear the old thing, when you're gone, you're dead, it's over, whatever. And there's a lot of people that believe that, and that's okay. But when you capture one of these things that you know is something, it's not static that you're misinterpreting or something. It's something that is actually communicating with you, or at least acknowledging you.
Right.
It's cool, without a doubt. It's kind of cool, but it's something out there, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all hard to prove, and that's the sad part.
Right.
But in the end, aliens, if there's not intelligent life out there, it'll be an awful waste of space, as said in the movie Contact. And
what a great movie that was.
Great movie, Contact. It's so good. Yeah, and ghosts, I mean, there's tons of stuff that happens that you can't explain, whether maybe someday they will and it's not, but I really hope that there are. So
I believe there are. I truly do. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Please.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Yay. We'll just give the mic to Arthur.
And we'll lean back and get rolling.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars was I mean, it came out at a time when some hard hitting. I mean, Star Trek the motion picture came out. Star Wars came out. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, and I mean, talk about an amazing film and a franchise that lived on, and then we thought was totally over with, and what Walt Disney Productions came in, or Disney Pictures came in and bought the whole franchise from Lucas and said, we want to do more of these great movies.
Yep.
What an amazing run, and it sounds like the run is starting all over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on Star Wars?
Well, my thoughts is Star Wars is my favorite. It's just my favorite. I wish that I could have experienced what it was like growing up and not seeing anything like it, and then suddenly seeing it. I mean, because it just kind of, like you said, it just kind of like blew you away. Me, I just grew up with it like part of my DNA, you know. So I've just loved it ever since I was a child. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you do want more of something that you love. But like Disney, they pay $4 billion. They're like, hey, we paid $4 billion. We're getting our money's worth. We're going to make one movie every single year now. And so it's like, well, that's cool. I'm hopeful for it. But like at the same time, it's like we talked a little about too much of a good thing sometimes.
Right.
Like,
but I hope they do it in a good way. I feel like Disney has been good at that. Like before, they would release terrible sequels just to make tons of money. Now they've kind of pulled back. I mean, everyone does it. Pirates of the Caribbean. But I feel like I'm hopeful for it because I feel like doing a part of the original storyline, with Episode 7, awesome, and then doing a spin-off movie with different directors. I'm not saying every movie is going to be amazing, but I mean, come on, if we get a Jango Fett movie going on, I mean, that's going to be awesome. A Darth Maul movie, that's going to be awesome. Now, I am hopeful, but, no one's perfect. It might not be good, but I'm hopeful.
So, we were talking a little bit about this. I, myself, I loved the first 3 movies. I know now they all have names put to them. I mean, way back when it was Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. And of course, third was, Return of the Jedi. The second was Empire Strikes Back. First one, really nothing, just Star Wars. And now, what is the name of one now? Because
Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
The first one's Phantom Menace. Second one's
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. I was trying to say Clone Wars, which is not what it is. And then the other one is Wow. Arthur.
Revenge of the...
Okay, why are you letting me just... You're just letting
I'm
me
enjoying this.
But what is the first one in the Star? Is it just
A New Hope.
A New Hope. Okay,
Yes.
so that's obviously somebody did some cool marketing and threw that
Yeah.
out. So A New Hope, the old movies, I grew up with. I did see the newer ones. I'm not saying that they weren't okay, as we mentioned during the break. I love Samuel L. Jackson. I think he's a heck of an actor. But when he was a Jedi Master, some of that I don't know. That kind of ruined it a little bit for me.
You're not alone.
Okay.
So know that there's a very big fan base.
So
especially with Jar Jar Binks.
So with the new movie that's coming out, I would assume that the whole intent from what you've read or heard on it, and it's very hush-hush, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of J.J. Abrams in general, is he doesn't like to let a lot out. Is this going to kind of fall in the model of the original three, do you think, or what's your take on it? Obviously the three actors are in it, correct? The original three.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca, the guy who played Chewbacca.
Right, Peter.
And C-3PO.
Peter.
And he was at Comic-Con
That's
walking
right.
around. I understand he was very sick when he was there,
Yeah.
but he still made it.
Yeah. What do you think, Arthur?
Well, like, what I think, I know I was a little kind of negative. I'm a bit of a realist, but, like, I really love Star Wars, so I want him to be good. I think it's interesting, J.J. Abrams, the way he's going about it. He says, hey, we're trying to make it like the originals. We're filming it in England like the originals. Mm-hmm. We're filming it on film like the originals. We're using practical effects instead of special effects. And
which is like puppets and stuff as well.
Yeah. So it's really interesting kind of, I mean, they obviously are doing this on purpose, probably because of the people that were a little soured by the prequels, which I think is so silly because they're like, George Lucas, you betrayed us. But it's like, hey, George Lucas, he's basically making the most expensive independent movies ever because he feels like it. Right. And they're his movies and he can do what he wants. It's just some people, they're just so passionate about this stuff.
Yeah, see, it's funny because you said you grew up with that old Star Wars. Mm-hmm. We grew up with the new Star Wars. Right. Now, we're not going to say that those were as good as the originals. We would probably be tarred and feathered by the Star Wars community if we said that. No, but it's just interesting because I feel like we kind of have a little more of a not as harsh. I'm not saying yours is harsh. You should see others that are very harsh. Yeah. There's actually a fun documentary on Netflix.
Yes, I've seen.
Oh,
that.
You've seen that one, yeah, where they get really upset about how he changed things. Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, the who shot first thing with Han Solo, that to me is a little weird, like, because it looks funny, but everything else is okay. I feel like he has his own, like you said, I think he has his own thing, and I'm hopeful for JJ. I'm hopeful for you, big guy. I know you're out here listening, and I'm hopeful for him. I think he's going to do good. He has a lot of pressure on him, though.
Poor guy.
I know, but yeah.
He doesn't say that when he looks at his bank account.
He just smiles.
He just smiles.
That's true.
Well, I mean, and obviously, I think that was a big move on Disney's part to bring the guy that they brought on to bring the Star Trek franchise back to life. Yeah. To say, hey, you were able to turn this around. Not turn it around, but you were able to reignite the fire with a totally different concept. Yeah. I am more of a Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan, I think, because when I was real young, I mean, I'm in my 50s now, I was a young little kid and watching Star Trek, the original series. So I kind of grew up with that, and then the comic books and everything that went to go with it. And, it was I think it was a hard pill, but these guys are getting old. I mean, it's going to be cool that William Shatner looks like he's going to be in the third movie.
That's what I heard, yeah.
I think that's going to, it's just cool.
Yeah.
He's got a new series starting out now where he's into home rehabbing or something, and he's 83 years old, and I'll tell you what, I hope I look that good at 83.
That's true. Yeah.
He doesn't look that old.
Priceline commercials.
Right, he doesn't. He really doesn't. He's really sharp in that, and I think that hopefully they'll write them in the right way, and it'll be really it'll be a cool thing. But I'm hopeful, and I kind of wonder, and I don't wonder, I pretty much know, I believe that Disney probably bought that franchise because, of course, they want to do big things with it because of the marketing and all the stuff attached to it. But it's a perfect time when you think about it, because this is the time for the baby boomers. The people that are going to go watch this are a little older than me. They're going to be looking at the people that, for the most part, they're going to go out and they're going to spend the money. They're going to take their grandkids and they're going to buy the 5 tickets, and they're going to buy the popcorn, and they're going to buy the toys. And
well, it's even same, not just the grandkids, because now us who grew up with the prequels are now going to do that same thing. So you're right.
Yeah.
It's going to be grandparents, parents. It's going to be a huge demographic.
Do you think that there'll be a re-release of the originals? I know that something that I put on our Facebook page that I thought was really interesting is I believe I don't know if it's Paramount or Warner Brothers is re-releasing 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, they're going to start next month running trailers, teasers on television again.
That's cool.
It's going to come back around.
I think it's going to put it in IMAX. Isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah, it's going to come back around in the big theaters again. There is a theater here in about once a month, every other month it shows. It's an independent theater over in Sugar House. I can't think of the name of it.
Tower?
Might be.
Tower Theater, I think?
They show it there once
cool.
they show
That's cool.
The Stanley Kubrick films.
Ah.
I think it's kind of cool. I'm hopeful for this new movie.
Yeah, I think also what's a good thing to make an account is how well Disney's been doing. Joshua, again, another fan on here who's been talking to me on Justin, who's been talking to me on Facebook here, he mentioned that he's very hopeful because how well they've been doing the Marvel movies, because now Disney owns them. And I think it's fair to say, they're going to have that influence, and they're making very good choices. And not only that, they're doing a very good job at expanding that universe. Like you said, comic books have a huge universe, and they're doing really good at expanding that universe. Avengers 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and now we heard that Civil War is going to happen, which is where Iron Man and Captain America fight each other. That's going to be super cool. So,
are they going to do any more Iron Man movies? Or
I heard that there's going to be another one, a fourth one. So there's going to be that one, but then Iron Man is also going to be in Captain America 3, and then it's going to set up for Civil War, which is where superheroes are going to be drawn in the line and they're going to fight each other, and that's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Interesting. I did see the Age of Ultron trailer. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it.
Oh
Goodness.
Unbelievable.
I loved how the song on there was "I got no strings to hold me down." I thought that was cool.
So creepy too.
It's still Disney, but it was brought to it worked. It worked perfectly with what they were doing.
And then they're bringing James Spader in, who's from Blacklist.
Right, exactly, to play the voice of Ultron.
It's going to be definitely a cool movie. But the Marvel, again, the one thing I will say, it seems like there's a lot of, in the Marvel world, the DC world, Marvel more so than anybody. And I'm curious, did Stan Lee own Marvel, or did he just own the character rights?
Yeah, that's the fun thing. Do you know?
No,
I can explain it. So Stan Lee, So what was fun part was
Stan Lee's got to be a very rich individual. Right?
He is now. See, the fun part was when Spider-Man first came out, the movies for Spider-Man. So before all that happened, when they all became movies, Marvel was going bankrupt. So Stan Lee had this. He was like, I don't know what to do. I have to get, I have all these things. So he sold X-Men to Fox. So the thing is, though, is it's only movie rights. So Fox has movie rights to X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and then Sony, I believe, just has Spider-Man.
And the associated.
And anyone involved in Spider-Man, which is a lot of people. And then Marvel still kept certain ones to home. So that's why you still see like Disney markets Spider-Man stuff all the time. They can't make any movies with him in it. Hopefully that's going to change. Apparently that's pretty big right now, but they still market. They can still make video games with him in it in the Avengers, but they can't make any movies which is really sad. I really hope that changes because Spider-Man and Wolverine, Fox basically said they're not selling regardless. But apparently right now the big rumor is Sony and Disney are in talks of selling it, so that'd be cool.
So, but Stan Lee owns the rights to the characters. Or he's the guy.
Well, I think he sold it all to Disney now.
Did he?
Yeah.
But he created those characters.
He
He
did.
created Hulk.
Yeah.
He created
Spider-Man.
I mean, just when they were in the cheesy, and then the comic books, and then the cartoons.
right.
I mean, boy, that whole Marvel universe, and again, some of the stuff a little bit beyond my time, well, not beyond, but ahead of my time, is all these other Marvel characters that sprung out that, kind of the diehard people knew about, and now, like, Guardians of the Galaxy is I mean, I never heard of any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, again, that's, I think, just time, and you fall out of things, but the train's been rolling all along, and now there's a lot of, but that's going to cater to that's going to cater to a younger crowd, a different crowd.
Well, what I think is funny is these diehard fans get so mad. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. I won't lie. I mean, I knew about Groot, which is the big tree thing, and I knew about Rocket, but I didn't know about anybody else. And so when I was like, oh, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a few people that were like, I knew Guardians of the Galaxy before it was a movie. The hipsters, as you will. But to me, I feel like, what's wrong with something that you love being given the actual right to be shown to everybody? And like, Spider-Man has always been dear to my heart, and even though a lot of the stuff didn't match exactly what was going on, I was just happy there was a Spider-Man movie, and people know who he was, and it was in people's homes, and so you can't be mad.
Maybe they don't want to feel like Spider-Man is leaving them to go to everyone else.
right.
Spider-Man's mine, not yours.
But what do you think about all these reboots? Now the two latest Spider-Man movies, I haven't seen either of them.
Gotcha.
I need to when it's snowing and cold, I'll have to catch up on some of that stuff. But
it's good.
But was it a reboot? Kind of the story retold from a different perspective again?
Yeah, I mean it was. They did it way too soon. That was the problem.
Definitely.
What I mean,
because who was the guy that was in the guy that played Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. I thought he was good.
Yeah, and I thought he was fine too. And then Andrew Garfield is the newest one. But yeah, it's the problem is that we've already seen that story. Peter Parker enters into the wrestling, and then all of a sudden he doesn't stop the criminal, and then his uncle dies. So excuse me. So the sad part is, we've seen that. So the first movie was really rough because we had to brush through all that story arc already again, and it's kind of like, I just watched this movie. But then after they got past that part, it was different, and that's and I liked that. They started off with the Lizard Man, and he was a reptile, and he was the original. That was the first bad guy that Peter Parker faced, and so it was perfect. And then Gwen Stacy, I mean, she was the first love interest before Mary Jane came involved. So I don't know, it was different. I think it's different enough that you should definitely watch it.
Because doesn't the new ones now, and of course it's been out long enough, so if you haven't seen it, oh well, you're like me, you're lost. Doesn't the newer Spider-Man movies kind of go into a little bit of backstory where his dad was somehow involved with making him who he is?
Reading. So you're asking if his dad. Reading the comics when I was a kid, I don't remember anything.
I don't remember nothing like that either.
If it is, then maybe someone out there can correct us. But I don't. That might have been just something they kind of added on the back of it.
But I mean, they have rebooted the comics as well.
That's true. They can take from different storylines.
I mean, I kind of like, in the reboot, and as far as reboots go, I think still, in the scheme of things, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboot probably is the most successful one because the way they worked the time. I mean, it was kind of, if you want to call it, believable. It's not like the story being retold again. It's just told from a different time perspective and an alternate world and stuff. But yeah, the movies are cool, and
it was a nice twist.
It was a nice twist, and it works and stuff. But I have high hopes for Star Wars. I really do. I kind of think that this is a good thing. They're probably going to have a passing of the baton type of thing, and that's what this is all about. It's probably going to mob the theaters because the people like me who saw the first original three are going to be like, we want to see Carrie Fisher. I know she looks kind of like a crack whore now. Sorry, but she does. You've seen her. I mean, she looks terrible.
Yeah.
She and she's not that old.
Yeah.
And I mean, those people, I remember seeing her in the second one, in the bikini outfit and whatever, and I mean, she was, good looking, and now you look at her, and I mean, she's just so drawn out, and just looks like she just,
She's been through some things.
Yeah, she's been through some things.
That's what it looks like.
Harrison Ford just is an older version, and of course Mark Hamill is just older and fatter. That's what happens when we get older. But it'll be interesting. It will definitely be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about? And we had a question come in from our good friend in upstate New York. Bill wrote and said, and I'll preface it. It said, does Arthur and Watson think that we will ever see? Is it possible to see a DC versus Marvel movie?
What do you think?
See, you Watson brought up a little earlier about how Sony has Spider-Man, Fox has X-Men and Fantastic Four, Disney has the rest of Marvel, then you've got DC. You've got all these different movie studios who they're like, wait, watch our movies. We're going to make ours bigger and better than theirs. And
now, who owns DC? Is that a Paramount thing, or?
Well, I don't think anyone necessarily owns it, but I mean, Warner Brothers has been making all the Batman and Superman, and now Justice League movies are in the works. So I don't know exactly what the deal is with that, but I just feel like these are really big rivalries. I don't know.
Maybe years and years. I'm talking 20 years maybe. But I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people don't think they've. The thing is Spider-Man or DC and Marvel have mashed up before. They actually had a comic book called Superman versus Spider-Man, and they teamed up and they co-wrote it together. And then, of course, it started out them fighting each other, and then they were like, "Oh, let's be friends and fight other stuff." So. Although I think it'd be cool, if it does happen, it won't happen for a very long time.
What do you think about the new Batman versus Superman movie?
Oof. That's all you got to say? Arthur just lifted his hand in the air. I'm not quite sure.
No, I was pointing at you.
Oh, you were pointing at me.
What do you think?
I'll let you take this.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's going to be cool. They're obviously trying to... not trying. It's just where it's been going. They're kind of looking at what Marvel's done, and I'm not trying to say, for all those DC fans out there, I'm not trying to say that they're not being original. DC is awesome. They get their own credit for they've made some amazing movies, so not trying to diss on them at all. And I think it's great that they're doing that. So I'm really excited. The one thing I'm worried about is they keep announcing all these superheroes that are going to be in this movie, when I'm kind of hoping they would do what Marvel did, where we see Iron Man and then Nick Fury comes in, which was Samuel L. Jackson, and was like, this is the Avengers Initiative. And then that's all we got. We're like, oh, what's going to happen? And then it goes on. But right now it's like, hey, we've announced, obviously Batman and Superman are going to be in this movie. Also Robin and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and it's like,
I think Cyborg even.
Yeah, Cyborg, which is cool, and I like that, but I wish we could have more teasing and leading up to, and sure, it's going to take a few movies, but all those characters deserve their own movies. That's what I feel. So.
Well, and maybe they're just taking a different approach from Marvel.
Sure.
They're definitely being like, hey, Marvel did it, we can do it. Marvel did kind of like a slow burn until they built up to the Avengers, and Joss Whedon knocked it out of the park. So it only makes sense that, DC wants to try that with their properties. But I just, I don't know, maybe it's going to work out really well and be good, and, it's hard to say, but I did like how Marvel did, but, maybe they've got some tricks up their sleeve that we're just not ready for yet.
Well, that's what happened. And then Batman came out of the blue. The Dark Knight with Christopher Nolan, and then
See, those films were. It's kind of sad that couldn't have kept rolling, because that franchise was just, it was good. It was really good, and of course, obviously, in the third one, everyone thinks he dies in the end, but he doesn't. And when I saw that, I thought, well, okay, there's hope for a fourth one. Yeah. But I think Christian Bale said, that's enough. I've had enough of this. I've made my millions. It's
and
time
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Well, they ended it on a high note. They had a really nice story arc. So I felt good about the way it ended. Like, rather than having it just slowly die and get worse, they ended it on a good note. Yeah. So. Yeah,
it's it'll be interesting to see what Ben Affleck will do. But now isn't that a 2016 release? Isn't that out a year, or is it scheduled for next year?
It's scheduled for pretty far out, but they've already shown a little teaser trailer.
They've already started filming it, but I'm not sure. It's either 2000.
And these are early 2000. No, they'd probably want to do end of some year, so it's probably going to be 2000. Or no, it'd probably be around May.
I forget.
It'd probably be May 2016. I would assume. I'll have to look it up.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that one's out a ways. Now, when is Star Wars is that next year, 2015?
Yeah, next
Christmas?
December. Yeah.
So
we'll be there midnight.
Yeah.
Boom. Yes.
It's without a doubt, it's a lot of fun. It really is to talk about all this stuff, and even though they're movies, boy, the stuff really plays heavy on everybody. I mean, everyone gets into it. The kids get into it, and people get excited about seeing the new stuff. It's gonna be good. Yeah. I think it's gonna be really good. Avengers comes out in May, I think. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that'll be out. Any other movies that you guys are tracking or watching for
Interstellar, like you
said?
Yes.
Oh, looking forward to that.
So
Interstellar looks really good. We just saw John Wick,
Okay.
which is an action-y movie. Actually turned out pretty awesome.
Oh,
actually.
yeah. They did really well.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting too much with a Keanu Reeves. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's done some good stuff, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting too much, but that was awesome. What other movies am I thinking? Oh, Into the Woods. I know it's it's a musical, so I know kind of people, but I'm really excited for that.
For me, it's The Hobbit. Definitely.
Oh, The Hobbit. Yeah, that's coming. So
what's coming for Christmas time? Anything?
Oh, well, Into the Woods, and then The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco.
That one looks great.
Have you heard about that movie? Mm-hmm. So The Interview is about, it has Seth Rogen. Do you know who he is? Mm-hmm. He's a comedian, and it's about how him and James Franco have a TV show that it's like a talk show, and the Kim Jong-un,
Kim
Jong-il is a fan of the show, and so he asks to be interviewed. So they go over to North Korea to interview him, but while they head over there, the CIA tells him that they want him to assassinate him while they're interviewing him.
Oh, cool!
So it's actually got right. Well, it's actually got so big that North Korea said that America better stop this film from being released.
Really?
Yeah, and America said, yeah, sorry.
The show must go on.
Yeah, exactly.
I dare you to try to shoot a missile. How far are you going to get this time? Oh,
but yeah, I'm pretty excited. I know I'm missing some, but those are the ones that at least come to my head right now.
Well, when you ask questions right now, I can't think of anything. But,
now, isn't Fantastic Four going to get a reboot? Aren't they going to?
I heard they are. Yeah,
they're going to redo that
could
again.
Be really good. Deadpool. They're going to make a Deadpool movie, and I don't know if you know who Deadpool is. Deadpool is one of those fanboy favorites that just need to make a movie.
I'm sure you've seen all the Deadpools like walking around cons.
Yeah, have you seen the guys who are? It's red and they have like an X go across there. Next time you'll see them.
The only Deadpool I could think of was the Dirty Harry movie they made back in the early '80s called The Deadpool, and it was about actors that were being assassinated.
Oh, well, there you go. No, it's nothing like that. But yeah, that's going to be made. And someone brought up another point. Justin brought up another point. There's a lot of good TV shows that have been released with superheroes. Like there's an Arrow TV show. There's a Gotham TV show now. I don't know if you heard about that with Batman. That's a new one coming out.
Oh, Gotham?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now isn't that? But it's kind of like they don't. I haven't watched it on Fox. the characters are kind of just portrayed a little bit differently, correct? I mean, there's a guy that's kind of...
Well, because it's all before... I mean, this is all happens when Bruce Wayne's a kid. Like, this doesn't happen when Batman's around.
Yeah, I saw a preview the other night for the one that's on this weekend, and there's this kind of weird little dude in there walking around, and he's got the question mark on his, for the Riddler. He's got, that looked pretty good. One of the people from the chat room sent in, said, what's your thoughts about Independence Day 2?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That'll depend for me because I know Will Smith hasn't been approached yet.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. If Will Smith, I mean, I'm still probably going to go see it, but to me, they have to have some of the original characters to make
Right, I know Bill
Independence 2.
Pullman has signed on.
Oh, he has? Okay.
Yeah, he's signed on,
and is Gary Oldman signed on? Not Gary Oldman.
He should be in it.
What's his name?
The tall guy.
What's the Jurassic Park guy's name?
Yeah,
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Thank you, Arthur.
Yeah, he signed on.
Oh, he
for
did
it.
sign. Oh,
Yes,
good.
He
Good,
signed
good,
on
good.
for it. I've seen a couple of different things that it looks like it's going to be kind of not necessarily kind of what happened to Earth 20 years after.
Alternate future type
I
thing.
kind of think so. Yeah.
It sounds really interesting, and I loved the original. So I mean, if it's good, I welcome it.
I love. Yeah, the original still is that's one of those you.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
Kick the tires and light the fires.
You
Big
can
Daddy.
you can go ahead and that's one of those movies that on a cold snowy afternoon you can pop it in and you say, I'm going to be doing some stuff, and you sit down and you burn up 3 hours of time watching it.
Great movie.
Kind of like what's the other one with Bruce Willis? Armageddon.
Armageddon. Yeah, definitely.
A lot of those old movies out there that I don't know how many times they pop up on TV and you're like, man, I got stuff to do today and working around the house. And
Terminator's another one.
Terminator.
I love
That's
Terminator.
now there's a new Terminator coming out
That's
too.
what I
correct?
hear.
True.
Yep.
With Arnold in it.
Yeah,
think
that's
so,
what I
yeah.
hear. Yep. And that he's going to be a Terminator.
Is it supposed to be a reboot, or is it?
No.
Oh, we're going back in time and making a new
That's
movie.
what I heard. It's not a reboot, but it's still along the same story.
I mean, technically, you could just use time travel to, reboot.
That's the thing with time travel. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
That's right.
I mean, that makes me think of Back to the Future too. Like, I loved the way they did it. Where, well, you know all about it, of course.
Favorite movie. But
You know,
please continue.
But I love how Marty McFly, like, they put you back into like those scenes from the original movie, and he's following himself. I think that would be really fun to have like Arnold go back in time, and he has to stop Arnold or something, and maybe Arnold actually kills himself and saves the.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
funny. He's the reason why he turns good in the other movies, because randomly he just turns good, but maybe that's wise.
I like the first one, the Cameron one, the original one. That was scary when that half thing was coming up up the stairs and stuff in the plant. It's a good movie. Yeah. Second one, it kind of it took a little different approach, but good movie.
Yeah,
good movie.
Definitely good movie. It'll be exciting. I tend to more like those kind of movies than reboots, the ones that still, like you said. So Independence Day was made a while ago, and now we have Independence Day 2. I kind of like that better than a complete reboot.
Right.
Now I say that, but I mean, I liked Godzilla. I thought that was much better than the original American reboot.
You mean the one with like
the babies?
The one with Matthew McConaughey? No,
Matthew Broderick.
Yes,
I love that movie.
Oh, you did?
I think
I loved it as a kid.
I thought it was a cool movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I didn't realize how heavy duty Godzilla fans were. Because they're so. The movies got so cheesy. If you go out and download, I think it's Crackle. You can go download for free.
Yeah.
They're all 60. There's like 60 of them.
Holy cow!
Godzilla versus King Kong. Godzilla versus.
I heard that might be made, and that would be sweet.
Yeah.
I think
Peter Jackson should make it.
Yeah.
That's his next movie.
Yes.
But there's so many different, so many hokey ones out there. But I kind of like the reason I like Godzilla so much is it really wasn't a reboot. They did reference, to way back when. It was kind of like, well, we're not going to try to pick up from back then, but something happened back then, and So it was very, very well done. What I'm looking for, and I've been following closely now, next year they're going to release a big screen Gamera movie.
Really?
The turtle. Yeah, the big flying turtle.
That would be fun.
So maybe we'll see the monster movies. Another question that came in from our buddy Bill in upstate New York says, do you think Sigourney Weaver will ever do another Alien movie?
Actually, she did the game.
She did, yeah, that's
you
right.
want to explain that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, so they did a game which is kind of like
So cool.
a sequel to the original Alien.
Yeah, that's what he wrote too. So what about games like Alien Isolation being spin-offs from the first movie?
Well, so I'm going to say something very unpopular. So like Alien Isolation is like a direct sequel to the movie Alien, and Aliens, the video game Aliens Colonial Marines, is like a direct sequel to that. I'm probably one of the few people who liked that game. I really liked how they kind of continued from the story, and it was fun. And there's just something magical about like having the experience that you feel like you're in some place. Like I don't know why I'm comparing Disneyland to Aliens, but like it's just really cool to kind of put yourself, like, it just feels so real. And yeah, but yeah, Sigourney Weaver did do some voice work for Alien Isolation, the video game. So
In a DLC. Well, and then I think she did a few other things, so.
That I'm not sure of, but.
I'm pretty sure she's, I mean, I don't know if what's his name, Ridley Scott would ever do it, but if she's willing to do that, then I would assume why not do a full movie.
Yeah, I mean,
what I kind of liked with the Aliens movie though, as they move forward, is that you find out that the company, that mining company or whatever, knew all about these things.
Right.
I mean, exactly. It was not like, I mean, that was the whole point of it. It was they were sent to go there. They were, I mean, it was to capture these things and bring them back as a military type weapon.
Right. Exactly. That's always that is like the biggest moment is when she goes into the computer room, the computer room, and she's like typing and she's like, "Tell me what's going on," and then it's like, "We knew all along" or whatever, and then the android comes in. Always the androids. Man. Don't trust an android.
Yeah. Yeah. I love about horror movies is you've got these horror movies and you've got monsters, like Walking Dead. You've got all these zombies, but really, the bad guys are the humans.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's what I find interesting is like, yeah, sure, you have monsters. Monsters are going to kill and eat you. But the humans, those are the ones you're really scared of.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I love.
Oh, I know. I think that, and then, what I didn't realize and a good friend of mine told me about was the Predator connection with Aliens. I mean, that was, people say, oh, well, they had Predator. No, the original comic books were the way Predator versus Aliens was really written.
Oh, interesting.
They were there to hunt him as
a form of acceptance or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't really believe him until I went back and looked at the old Predator magazines and comic books. And, that's what it was about. Want to take another call?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Caller, good evening. Welcome to K-Talk.
What I liked about Alien Isolation, you're talking about on the computer, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because the aliens, even though you put the scanner on, the alien comes around and, it's hovering around. And sometimes you go out and then it gets you. And other times it doesn't respawn in the same spot.
Right.
And what's interesting about that game is that constant fear.
Oh, yeah.
That you're going to get it. And, animals out in the real world, like deer, they're always watching.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And animals are always watching. Now, can you imagine being in a state that when you go into that game, then you get to feel what it's like to be animals out in the real world where there's no laws. Right?
Yeah, where you're the hunted.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Now the other one I just was just finishing up was on the Xbox was the Dead Space.
Oh, nice.
I love that game.
Well, I just went through it again, 1, 2, and 3 as a trilogy the past week. I'm able to have that free time.
I believe they're very heavily inspired by it.
Yeah.
then-
Those ones are very heavily inspired by like The Thing and Alien, definitely.
Yeah. So I see similarities in that. And then I have the Mass Effect 3.
Oh, I love Mass Effect.
Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, The Shepherd, Mass Effect 3. And so that one there, that's interesting too.
Yeah, you have very good taste in some games.
No, I do the Call of Duty, World of War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
Now the other one is called Assassin.
Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed.
Well, Assassin's Creed, but there's another one that's out online
Oh, okay.
where you go down and you kill the warlords and the
Oh.
captains and the lieutenants.
Interesting. I didn't know
It's
that.
just a stalking one where you, like, if Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Well, where you come up and you can do kills if you come up from underneath.
Right. Yeah.
And and then they have on the Xbox 360 the game called Ninja Gaiden,
Oh, right. Definitely.
and which is an after of Shadowrun. I don't know if you were there when Shadowrun came out.
I haven't played it, but I'm familiar.
So I've been there through them all, boys.
Nice.
This guy's a serious gamer.
That's good.
Definitely.
I'm glad to meet someone that can
Dude,
school us on games.
I'm 60 years old, and
Wow.
I started on pinball machines
Awesome.
and pack machines. And when I got out of college, I went back to Philadelphia to work in my father's structural engineering office. But
Uh-huh.
I worked part-time in a pinball arcade. And
Awesome.
this pinball arcade had, it was the biggest pinball arcade in downtown Philadelphia. It was at 16th and Chestnut Street called Sounds.
Awesome.
Anyway, so I've been playing them all since, and I have kids.
Uh-huh.
And my kids started off with the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3,
Uh-huh.
and the Xboxes.
Yeah.
So I've been through the whole generations of them. To right now, I got an Xbox One, and I spent the day starting a new character yesterday on Skyrim.
That is awesome.
So you know what Skyrim is, right?
Oh yeah,
Of
I
course.
love Skyrim.
Yeah, well, see, the interesting part of that is this God guy takes his blood from his heart,
Uh-huh.
and he gives it to that blessed it's the same as Sissy's, as Alicia,
Uh-huh.
and then she becomes the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's how you become the Dragonborn, where you do the shouts, because you have the blood in you from the that dude Crushall, whatever the frick his name is.
Yeah.
And there's so many names in all these games,
No, I get you. You know,
Right.
it was
How
really
about Lord
awesome
of
to
the
meet
Rings?
you.
Did you do Lord of the Rings
Lord of the Rings?
online?
I haven't.
No, I have.
Versus
I've done none of these.
Lord of the
man.
Rings.
There's a
Then they
few
had
can
Lord
see.
of the Rings Xbox 360. I had when that first came out.
Oh.
It sounds like you're the original pinball wizard.
No. I'm not good, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, I just assumed you'd played them all, so.
At least
I
you
did.
enjoy them.
No, see what it is my boy plays them, and I play them too, and I have two boys.
Awesome.
So whenever anything tough comes up, then they have to help me get through it.
That's awesome.
Now here's a real game for you to do for drones: is the Tom Clancy Hawk.
Ooh, I've heard about that one.
Well, so that's a realistic flying one with Northrop Grumman, just like you're in real time.
Right.
And the first ones you're doing is you're going for people that are coming across the border, and you're in these, in this drone, and you're bombing them.
Wow.
These people are coming across the border.
Yeah.
Then another one you're doing a dam. So it could be any one of the major dams. So you're what they do is they scale you up, and then another one is down in Rio de Janeiro, dude. And you can bomb that. You can bomb that. The dude up on top of the mountain.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can
Well,
do
you
a
can do
com-
all these missions.
You can do all these missions all over the world, and that's on Tom Clancy Hawks.
Wow.
So that's real life. So there's a whole world out there if you have the time to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I think I got on at 6 this morning, and I just got off Skyrim now.
Wow.
Then then you know what? I turned on the radio, and I usually don't listen to K-Talk on Saturday night, and I heard you guys talking about Alien,
Perfect.
and so I said, yeah. But I know all the movies out too.
That's awesome.
Meaning that I do marathons of the science fiction from over at the library.
Yeah, I love that.
Downtown library. they got a section there with all the science fiction. So you can see all those black and white originals coming out.
I'll have to go check
You
them
know,
out. Hey, we got to wrap it up. We're almost we're out of time.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Keep
Later,
gaming.
dude.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Very, very cool, man. Cool stuff. At any age, you can. I've never done any of that stuff. I gotta.
I want to meet that guy.
Yeah, I need to get into it, guys. The 4 hours went by.
Holy cow!
Quick, man. 4 hours. I mean, we just sat here and rapped and got a ton of different callers calling in tonight, and
Yeah, it was good.
it was a lot of fun. For people out there that want to follow your work, J-Watt Productions.
Yep, you can find us on Facebook, www.jwatproductions.com. That'll take you right to our Facebook page.
JWAT.
Yeah, and that's JWAT1T Productions. And also on YouTube, youtube.com/user/JWatt Productions.
Sounds
Or just
good.
type JWatt
Yeah,
Productions.
just look us up.
That's easy.
You'll find us.